Hi, I'm Liz Oseland, a career coach at 1080, and I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes or so taking you through the importance of personal development. We can look at this two ways: the importance of an organisation investing in personal development, as well as you as an individual. So from an organisational perspective, obviously there's lots of reasons why a company would engage in personal development, from upskilling individuals and teams in mandatory training such as health and safety, all the way through to leadership training to get the best out of individuals and teams to perform the best they can within their working environment. But this session is going to focus on you as an individual and your own personal development. There's also terms like personal development and professional development. Personal development could include things like health, fitness, food, all those sorts of things. And professional development is more about the skills that you want to acquire. I want you to think for yourself, what does personal development mean for you? It could be a mix of both. It could be improving your lifestyle, and it could also be looking to acquire a new skill. So in terms of why personal development, I'm a big believer in every day is a school day, and therefore there is always something every day that we can learn. And as individuals and humans, we have the capacity and always have room to grow. So personal and professional development is very much about having that mindset for lifelong learning, that we can always improve ourselves, and we can always be a better version than ourselves. We're also living in a time that is called the fourth industrial revolution, very much about automation and different ways of working. And there's lots of research at the moment as well into the future of work, what is going to be required of us in the future to perform at our best. Now, interestingly enough, the World Economic Forum produced a report back in 2016 looking at what they believed were going to be the top 10 skills required for 2020 obviously being the year we're all living in now. And the top 3 skills that were required came out as number 1 being complex problem solving, number 2 critical thinking, and number 3 creativity. Just take a moment to think about, when was the last time you engaged in developing yourself in anything to do with your complex problem solving skills? When was the last time you did training on what is critical thinking or how to be more creative? And I think when we take a moment to stop and think about that, we can then start to plan and decide, what do I want to do as an individual to improve my skills? And as I said, there's lots of research out there as to what is going to be needed in the future. Indeed, the Institute of the Future also did some research and estimated that 85% of jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even been invented yet. So why do we engage in personal development? It's really about finding out what is your own purpose, and engage in activities that you know are going to improve your own personal talents, whether that be as an individual or your career talents. Also to help you realise your full potential, improve your employability, as well as future-proof yourself for skills that are going to be needed in the workplace. Now, a great place to start when you're looking at doing any professional personal development is to do a self-assessment on yourself. You may be familiar with the term SWOT: strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So a great place to start is by doing a personal SWOT analysis on yourself. Now, that can either be done in a grid format or as is mapped out here. This is my preference because I think it helps you with your mind in the sense of really looking at what are my strengths and maybe making some of those connections. So for example, here we can see being good at communications and being creative is a strength, and that being flexible could actually help you step up because you've discovered that there's a maternity leave opportunity. You might discover that one of your weaknesses is being impatient, but actually that's linked to you being overworked. So once you've done the self-assessment on yourself, bearing in mind that for most people this is a perception, these are your own thoughts, the best thing to do is then to share that with others and actually get some feedback to validate, is this how you see me? So for example, with the personal SWOT, you can also take it a step further and build on it and ask yourself some more questions. So under strengths, when you've worked out what your own personal strengths are, you can ask yourself, how can I be even better? With your weaknesses, how can I improve? With your opportunities, how can I maximize those opportunities? And for your threats, well, how can I reduce them? So for example, here you can see, well, I'm impatient, and that might be because I'm overworked. Therefore, that opens up a conversation to work out what is happening there and why am I displaying these impatient traits. So a great place is starting with self-assessment, and a SWOT analysis is a great way to do that. And you can only grow and develop and decide how you want to improve your skills and you as a person if you've done a mirror holding up exercise. So what's next? There are lots of self-assessments online that you can do to find out more about your personality as well as your skills base. Do go and get that feedback from others to validate and give evidence to what your own perceptions are. And a really important one, I think, is discovering what your own personal learning styles are. You can do different assessments online to see what is your preference, because before you embark on any learning, any personal development journey, it's got to work for you. You've got to be motivated to continue on with that training and the learning. And really important, take time to reflect. Take time to reflect on the findings that you are gathering as part of your self-assessment and feedback from others. So thank you very much for listening, and please do share on the 1080 network how you're going with your personal development plan. Thanks.